So Pokemon Legends ZA came out recently, and as with any Pokemon release on the Switch, it's causing a lot of controversy. And as with any Pokemon game on Switch, that controversy is completely understandable. On the one hand, the game is visually hideous in some very specific ways, and people are rightfully complaining about it. On the other hand, Pokemon fans are still kind of enjoying the game quite a bit. So some people are calling Pokemon fans shills or delusional, and Pokemon fans are starting to think that people who are complaining are just haters who haven't even played the game. And as with any situation like this, the truth of the matter is somewhere in the middle. So in this video, I'll try and give a perspective that's as neutral as possible on the game. However, it is still my personal review, be focused on my own thoughts, still. And it should be noted that I am, in fact, a fan of Pokemon games. But I'm also a fan that specifically thinks that Game Freak doesn't deserve to be held to a different standard than other studios. It doesn't get a pass because it's Pokemon. This game is really fun, but it has some egregious and quite frankly unacceptable issues. Especially for the highest grossing media franchise in the entire damn world. So Legends ZA is a part of the kind of spin-off series of Pokemon games with Legends Arceus. But Legends games have been confirmed to technically be considered mainline, but they still function as the games where Game Freak is more willing to deviate from the mainline template. I however don't think it's particularly useful to consider Legends ZA to be the exact same kind of game as Legends Arceus at all, because they're very different. Legends Arceus was primarily focused on exploration and catching Pokemon, with very few trainer battles. It was mostly just about how you caught a lot of Pokemon out there in the wild. ZA, instead, focuses primarily on trainer battles, making it the complete opposite focus from Legends Arceus. Now, obviously, Pokemon Legends ZA retains many of the elements present in Legends Arceus, but it either tones them down and leaves them as side systems that the player really is in no way forced to engage in, or it overhauls them so much that I don't even really think they should be considered the same systems. And this is actually kind of how this game succeeds in a lot of ways. While some players might enjoy Legends Arceus more, I enjoy Legends ZA way more. Systems like the research system in Arceus were toned down here a lot, insofar as they're no longer the primary focus of the game. The game still rewards you for completing the research tasks, which are there, but these tasks are not species specific. You don't need to catch 10 of every Pokemon, or kill a bunch of them, or get them to use specific moves or something like that. That's no longer a thing. You have much more freedom in how you complete these tasks. A lot of them are just catching Pokemon of a certain type. Of course, you still need to complete the Pokédex to finish it and all that, but it's pretty clear that you have a lot more freedom in how you do them. And that's if you even want to engage with that system at all. There are rewards for it, you're well rewarded for it, the shiny charm is tied to it, but you don't need to do the research tasks if you don't want to. This is no longer the focus of the game, which, while they were technically optional, for the most part, in Legends Arceus, they were definitely the primary system that kept you playing, in my opinion. To some extent, at least. The drastically different systems in this game are really where it shines. Whereas Legends Arceus changed a few things about the battle system, while keeping its essence intact from the main series, Legends ZA completely ditches the turn-based system for a brand new action combat system. Now, I don't think this system is perfect, but it is very fresh and it's very fun. Because of the action nature of the new system, every move now behaves differently. Many of the moves, or even Pokemon that were normally useless, or at the very least not very useful, are now really good and interesting because each move has unique properties, including their range, their cast time, their cooldown, their recovery frames, and a bunch of other unique properties. For example, one of the Pokemon on my team that performed the best and kind of carried me through a lot of trainers in this game, kind of swept them single-handedly, was a Mega Camerupt of all things. I'm not a Camerupt fan, I don't think anyone is, but it swept a lot of trainer in this game because it has access to some very specific moves that are really strong within the system. Moves like Earthquake and Lava Plume deal their damage almost instantly, which is really strong in this system, and their AoE, which is not too bad either. Or, Camerupt also gets a move called Heat Crash. In this game, Heat Crash is invulnerable for a little while, which is really strong. So not only does this game make you take a fresh look at some old moves, it also changes how you build a moveset. Faster Pokemon have their move cooldowns refresh faster. So a faster Pokemon might be able to afford for each of their moves to fulfill a specific and different purpose from one another. But with cooldowns being a thing, even a faster Pokemon has to make a decision as to how you build your moveset, because it might be worth running two moves of the exact same type to make your damage rotation better, because you need more moves of the same type to keep hitting a Pokemon on their weakness, instead of running coverage moves like you normally would, because you can't spam a single move the whole time. The battle system is not perfect though. There are issues, like the fact you're guaranteed to get hit before you can move. If one of your Pokemon gets knocked out and you bring in a new Pokemon, that new Pokemon is guaranteed to get hit before they can do anything, which is fairly frustrating. This is also abusable for you offensively, and this is how you're going to sweep most enemies. You're going to hit them as they spawn before they can use a move. But it also means that it is completely pointless to sacrifice a Pokemon for the free switch, because it's not a free switch. Switching normally is actually better. If you switch in the middle of the opponent using a move, you could dodge that move and put it on cooldown. You might still take a free move after, but it's not the one that you've just put on cooldown, so it can definitely be worth doing. But there's no such thing as a free switch in this game by sacrificing a Pokemon. That's not a thing. It takes some adjusting, yes, to, obviously, because it is a new system, but it has a few issues, and it lacks a bit of polish. The boss fights from Legends Arceus are also back. They're called Rogue Mega Evolution battles in this game. You have to use Mega Evolutions to beat them, basically. And most of them are actually pretty damn good. And there's also way more of them than in Arceus, which was one of my complaints. There were only 5 primary boss fights. They brought in this new type of boss fight in Arceus, and then they only made you do it 5 times, which was a bit of a shame. In this game, there's quite a few more of them. There's also other good elements here. The new designs for the new Mega Evolutions they brought in are pretty good across the board. Now, not every Pokemon is for absolutely everyone. I think that's important to acknowledge, which is something that people don't seem to understand sometimes. Not every Mon has to be this cool, badass monster. Some are intended to be cute, or pretty, or silly. And you're not supposed to like all of them. Yet, Mega Evolution Pokemon seem to really be held to a higher standard of having to be badass for some reason. No one complains that Pokemon, like, I don't know, the Jigglypuff line, are cute rather than badass. But if you gave Jigglypuff a Mega Evolution, people would complain if it was cute. For some reason, every Mega Evolution needs to be badass. It's not the case in this game. They're not all badass. That doesn't mean they're bad. I'll come out and say it. I love Mega Starmie. I know there's been a lot of memes about it and a lot of people complaining, but if you don't like Mega Starmie, it's probably just not for you. It's meant to be a bit of a silly Mega Evolution. It also makes for great memes. And it's also a reference. Some of my favorite Pokemon of all time are silly or cute or pretty or whatever. So, I get that some of the ones I like are not for everyone. And that's fair. The only truly bad design here, I would say, is Mega Pyroar. It is kind of lazy and really ass. The only other one I personally really dislike is Mega Feraligatr, but at least the idea for it is really good. It's just an execution issue. I would much rather them, try and do something and fail than try nothing like they did with Mega Pyroar. My personal standouts that I really like, outside of Starmie, are Mega Meganium, Mega Froslass, and Mega Phalanx, but all of the Megas that I didn't mention here are still pretty good. Another good part of this game, surprisingly enough for a Pokemon game, is the story. It's a nice sequel to Pokemon X and Y for people who are fans of these games, and it fixes a lot of the issues with that story, especially surrounding Lysandra and Team Flare. I personally am not the biggest fan of Pokemon X and Y, so I really like that they fixed a lot of the issues I had with it in this game. The final sequence of this game is also pretty damn good, but obviously it's still a Pokemon game, but the story and the build-up do pay off in the end, and I do like that. It's just pretty nice. It's nothing crazy, but it's nice. A common thing about Pokemon games is that for every step forward we take, we simply have to take 2 steps back. And this is absolutely the case in this game. A perfect example is the link cable from Legends Arceus being gone, for no reason. So, once again, trade evolutions are pain, for no reason. We just decided to remove a really nice feature because we could. This kind of weird decision is everywhere in this game, and nowhere is it more obvious than in this game's tutorial. I'm not kidding when I say this game has a 2 to 3 hour long tutorial that refuses to let go of your hand. It makes you think you're done with it. It tells you, oh, go do this, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go do it. And then you see something shiny across the corner, you're like, oh hey, sure, I can go grab that. Nope, too far away. You have to come back to the tutorial, buddy. I still haven't finished teaching you the basics of how to move your character 2 hours in. I'm exaggerating, but it is that bad. You have to do exactly what the game tells you, or it snatches your hand and pulls you back to put you back on rails. Not a single soul enjoys or needs this kind of bullshit. Not even toddlers need that much hand-holding. But once the game finally frees you from its coercive grasp, and you're free to actually run around and play the game for real and explore stuff, it's actually really fun. It is a massive slog to get there, and I don't understand that Pokemon still does that to this day. Speaking of exploration, is it any good? I mean, it's marketed as a game where you explore a lot. It's okay. The exploration is focused on exploring rooftops primarily, and the game rewards you properly for doing it. There's good rewards for that stuff. It's pretty fun. There's a lot of stuff to find, but it does that one thing that I really abhor in exploration-focused games, which is lock away a lot of stuff until you progress your main story. The way this game does that is really frustrating. It has a double jump in the game, but it locks it behind about halfway through the main quest, which is really fucking annoying. If you want me to explore, let me actually go grab the stuff I can see. Stop putting stuff that I can't get yet, because it just makes me not want to explore until way later, because it feels like a waste to do it right now if I'm going to have to come back anyways. The other way you kind of explore in this game is wild zones. They get added as you go through the story, and that's where you'll find most of the wild Pokemon. They're fine. They serve their purpose of like progressively making more and more Pokemon available as you go through the story. They're nothing special. Unfortunately, them being available over time can be a bit annoying. This is kind of the Pokemon syndrome where some of the Mons are relegated to the end game and you can't really use them in your playthrough. And it's something that they've done quite often and that I wish they would tone down a little. Sorry, Drampa fans. It's basically at the end of the game. And they do a similar thing with the Megas in this game. Most of the old Megas have their Mega Stone available for purchase in some way right away. For the other Mega Stones, including every single new one, except your starter, that one's available pretty early. The other ones, they become available as you encounter them in the story. If they are a boss fight, you get the stone right after, right? These rogue Mega Evolution, they give you the stone when you defeat them. But obviously these are in order in the main story. If a trainer uses them, they can be purchased from a store after you finish basically the chapter they're in. A byproduct of that system is that if a late game trainer or a late game boss fight contains a Mega that you want on your team, you're just shit out of luck and you have to wait until the very end of the game to encounter them and finally get the Mega Stone. That's a bit of a shame. None of this is a massive deal though. The ones that are actually a big deal are the Mega Stones for the Kalos starters, because these are locked behind the online ranked battles against other players, which is insane, because in the first place you'll need an online subscription to even play those, and also a lot of players just don't want to do them, even if they're quite quick to get. But on top of that, they're season based. So right now you can get Greninja's Mega Stone, but if you want any of the other two starters to Mega Evolve, well, fuck you, you're gonna have to wait a few months. Side quests are back in this game, but they're nothing to write home about, really. There's a metric fuck ton of them for some reason, and most of them are kind of meh. A good amount are like just, it takes about 2 minutes, and it's just like a single regular ass battle, or bringing the person a certain mon you have to go catch or something, which I guess is fine. It feels like bloat, but it's over quick, so who cares? And you get a low reward or whatever. But a lot of the other ones take way too long for no reason, or they require you to do a battle with a highly specific mon that you probably don't have leveled, which is kind of fucking annoying. The annoying part of the system is that there's a few really good side quests, though not many of them, and having that many side quests makes it kind of hard to find the good ones, because there's so many annoying or pointless ones. Alpha Pokemon are also back in this game. They're kind of bait. I'm not sure I like the way they're implemented here. Obviously they're bigger again, but them being bigger makes them a bigger target in the system. So maybe don't use them, they're kind of a disadvantage, which is kind of silly. It's more of a nitpick. Now let's get to the big controversies. Why I say that this game is kind of unacceptable, despite me having glazed it quite a bit over this video. Starting with the visuals. First off, the Pokemon themselves do look really good. Let's not pretend they don't. This is not news to anyone. The Switch games usually bring with them some texture and model and animation improvements for the Pokemon themselves with every new Pokemon game. And obviously they look the best in any mainline title here. But that's not the issue. Performance was one of the big issues with Scarlet and Violet. That game ran at like 12 FPS most of the time. But what about here? I've personally had no issues. I played it on Switch 2 though. I haven't heard any big performance issues on Switch 1 are really a big thing either though. So that's clearly not the big thing everyone's talking about either. The real issue is the visuals of the environment. And this has been the major visual issue present in every Pokemon game on Switch, especially since Sword and Shield. Let's Go games also looked meh, but it wasn't as bad, because the art style was complete dog shit, so you couldn't even tell anyways. The issue isn't that the environments are like poorly designed or just plain shit, is that they're built from the ground up with absolutely zero care to make them look good. They just look straight up hideous in every single one of these games. In this game, specifically, it's the buildings. They're literally just rectangle JPEGs stacked next to each other. No textures, no polygons, no nothing. The worst part? This is probably the best looking mainline Pokemon game on Switch right now. This looks better than the other ones, and it looks that bad. Legends Arceus and Scarlet and Violet actually hurt to look at. They physically hurt you to look at. Sword and Shield had a few good looking areas at least, but most of it still looked kinda like shit. In this game, the environments look like ass, but you kinda stop noticing them after a while. And it's kind of because it gets a bit samey and they don't even try anything with them, so they can't actually fail because they never tried anything. They kind of just fall flat. It's still kind of sad though, because these games could easily look so much better. It's not even a matter of budget either. Like yeah, the game has a lower budget than it realistically should, but many small budget games look dozens of times better than this. It's not a matter of money or time or even art style. It's simply a lack of care. It's the belief that the games will sell anyways, so they're not going to put any effort into stuff that doesn't matter to them. Those are the real issues here with the visuals and why they look like shit. It's lack of care and that belief. It's not even that they had to make the visuals simpler for the sake of performance, because the game looks like ass even by Switch 1 standard, so that's not the issue. Also, like, can we talk about how we still don't have voice acting in Pokemon? Surely the highest grossing media franchise in the world could afford it, right? Like, what are we doing? And this gets me to the second controversy with this game, which is also warranted. It's the price. Why are we charging extra for the Switch 2 version of this game? That's absolutely fucking insane. The Switch 2 is already fucking expensive as hell. Why are you charging me extra to get the performance out of it. That's insane. If the game had better textures, or like they actually made real buildings but only for the Switch 2 version, and they weren't just JPEGs, maybe it'd be worth it. But no, they didn't do that. They just kind of upscaled it a little. And maybe slightly better load times, and that's about it. Fucking sucks. Instead, this game has a tiny budget, by AAA standards, but is also more expensive than the standard AAA price. And they also sell you an expensive-ass DLC before the game even releases. These visual and pricing issues, quite frankly, are unacceptable no matter how much you like this game. And I like it. I personally really enjoy this game. And it's genuinely a contender for my favorite Pokemon game of all times, or at the very least, top 3. But I can't excuse these issues, and I shouldn't have to. The tutorial, the visuals, and the pricing take so much away from the experience that I understand if some people just do not enjoy the game. Even though the music, the gameplay, the story, characters, all that stuff, it's actually quite incredible. That doesn't give the developers a pass to do bullshit like this. My final thoughts on this game are that I begrudgingly love it. I wish I could wholeheartedly say that this is a great game, but it's not. It's a great experience packaged within a sack of shit. If you can get past the dog shit, you'll probably have a wonderful time. And especially if you're a Pokemon fan, you'll definitely have a great time. But not everyone will be able to get past that dog shit. And that makes the state of this game completely not okay. There's so much more I could talk about here for this game. There's a lot more light, there's a lot more nitpicks I could go over. But I'll finish with this. It's a 9 out of 10 experience within the body of a 6 out of 10 game. Which, you know, averages out to about a 7.5 out of 10. And I don't even know that it deserves that. But that's where I'll land on it. You really deserve so much better out of Game Freak, and it's a massive shame. Hey, thanks for watching my video if you did. I am not going to do an outro for real. Because I don't believe in them. But, if you want to sub or like or comment or whatever, I think that'd be pretty nice of you. Could be your good action for the day. If you don't want to, though, get out of here and go do some other good action. Come on, get out.